Myra reached the office early, when the sun was still soft and the city noise had not yet grown wild. She stood on the sidewalk for a moment, looking up at the glass building. It was tall, clean, and a little cold. People in perfect clothes walked past her with quick steps. Some held coffee cups and talked on phones. Some swiped their badges without even looking up. Myra smoothed the crease in her plain kurta, held her small bag close, and went inside. At reception she smiled, said good morning, and gave her name. The receptionist checked the list and gave her a temporary badge on a thin blue cord. "Welcome," the woman said kindly. "Training starts on floor 14. Myra thanked her and stepped toward the elevators. 3 shiny doors opened and closed with a soft bell. She chose the middle one and took a long breath as it rose. When she reached floor 14, she saw an open office with bright lights and busy faces. Desks were arranged in islands, each with 2 screens, a headset, and sticky notes shaped like stars. A big board on the far wall showed live orders moving across a timeline: green for ready, yellow for late, red for very late. The air smelled of paper, printer ink, and strong tea. A tall man with a trimmed beard waved to her with a loose hand, like he was calling a taxi, not greeting a person. "You must be the new trainee," he said. "I'm Armin. Team lead. Sit anywhere. But not at the window seats. Those are reserved." He smiled like it was a joke, but it was not really a joke. Myra nodded and chose a desk near the pillar. She placed her bag on the floor and opened a simple notebook. She always preferred paper for first notes. It slowed the mind and fixed details in place. A young woman with nervous eyes slid into the seat beside her. "Hi," she whispered. "I'm Hina. If you need anything, ask me. But maybe not in front of Armin. He likes things to look fast." Hina's smile was small and true. Myra thanked her and wrote the names on her page: Armin team lead, Hina kind. A moment later, Armin clapped his hands and spoke to the team. "People, we have a spicy week. Audit next week. Clients restless. Targets tight. Let's keep the energy high." He looked at Myra. "New trainee, you'll start with data cleanup. It's basic. You'll be fine." A few people looked at her shoes, then at her face, like they were checking if the word basic fit. Myra did not mind. She opened the shared folder Armin sent and saw long rows of numbers. Customer IDs, order dates, delivery slots, and notes like callback or address changed. Some columns were named badly. Some were empty. Some mixed day and month in the wrong way. Myra tilted her head and began to map the problem. By mid-morning she had fixed 3 small things and marked 7 bigger ones. She saw that orders often jumped from sales to dispatch without a check in between. She saw that the system did not force people to write why an order changed. She saw that names were copied by hand from email to sheet, so typos were common. She wrote these points in her notebook in short, clear lines, then made a list of ideas. Her ideas were simple: a checklist before handoff, a reason field that must be filled, a small script to catch day-month swaps. Simple ideas, when done every time, could save a lot of pain. She knew this from years of watching good teams and broken teams. She did not tell anyone yet. She wanted to learn the people before she offered changes. People were always the real system. Around 10, Armin strolled past and leaned on her desk. "How's the basic work, new trainee?" His tone was light, but his eyebrows waited for a mistake. Myra turned her screen to show a small before and after sample. "The duplicates are gone," she said. "Also, I found a pattern in the late orders. It might be the weekend handoff." Armin nodded like he was too busy to care. Right. Keep it up." He took a step, then paused and looked at her kurta. "You know, we're a little more smart casual here. Not a big deal. Just, next time. He said it softly, as if helping, but his eyes were not soft. Myra nodded once. Thank you, she said. When he left, Hina leaned closer and whispered, don't worry. He says that to everyone who looks normal. They both smiled, and the smile made the air lighter. At 11, a man from finance came by with a stack of printouts and a face like he had slept in a chair. Cameron, he said, tapping his name badge. I'm looking for the person who fixed the customer ID field. The report finally runs. Hina pointed to Myra. She did. Cameron blinked, surprised, then grateful. Great. Thank you. Saved me half an hour. He looked at Myra in a direct, even way. No show, no push, just respect. Myra nodded and wrote his name on her page, Cameron Finance, tired but fair. Then she asked him two small questions about how the numbers flowed. He answered simply, without hiding, and that told her more than any slide deck. He also warned her, very gently. People are tense this week, he said. If someone snaps, it's the pressure, not you. Keep your head clear. Myra thanked him, and he hurried away. Close to lunchtime, a shout came from the far end where the dispatch team Saturday wrong address again, someone said. Who changed it? Another voice answered, not me. Ask sales. The argument bounced between desks like a small ball hitting hard walls. Armin walked over, spread his hands, and told them to focus. The noise fell, but only on the surface. Under the surface, it stayed. Myra watched without staring. She counted the steps in her head, a sale wins, an address enters, a date sets, a van loads, a client signs. Where exactly did it wobble? She drew a tiny flow line in her notebook, with arrows and boxes. Then she added a question mark between sales and dispatch. That was the gap. A handoff without a check. When the clock reached 1, Hina asked Myra if she wanted to eat together. They took the lift to the canteen on the 6th floor. The canteen was bright, with steel trays, warm steam, and the smell of rice and chai. The staff moved in a quick rhythm, ladling dal, stacking rotis, wiping tables. Myra thanked each server by name after reading the name tags. Thank you, Sana. Thank you, Imran. Their faces softened as if someone opened a window. The two women chose a corner table. Hina started talking about her little brother's school, the rent going up, the way the office got quiet when the CEO walked in. She spoke fast, as if words would run away if she paused. Myra listened carefully. People relax when someone truly listens. At the next table, two men from another team were talking in voices low but not low enough. Did you hear? One said. There's going to be a new owner. Someone from the investor group. The other snorted. Whatever. They'll show up, give a speech, cut jobs, and leave. The first man said, no, this one might be different. I heard they want to watch the culture. The second man laughed. Culture? We need better chairs. They both laughed and went back to their plates. Hina rolled her eyes and whispered, every few months someone says the company is changing hands. I stopped caring. Myra stirred her tea and said nothing. Her face was calm, but her grip on the cup was a little tighter. She did not like gossip. She liked facts and steady work. On their way out, the security guard at the canteen door, a middle-aged man with kind eyes, greeted them. His badge said Farid. New face, he said, smiling at Myra. First week. Myra nodded. First day. Farid gave a small salute. Welcome. This building is a maze. If you get lost, ask me. Hina laughed and said, she won't get lost. She sees everything. They waved goodbye and took the lift up again. Back at their floor, Myra found a fresh set of tasks in her inbox, sent by a senior analyst she had not met. The message said, "Please fix these typos ASAP," with a smiley face at the end. She opened the file and saw that the typos were actually wrong codes from a different system. After a moment, she guessed that the senior analyst either did not understand the source, or did understand and was hoping she would quietly fix it without asking for a proper step. Myra fixed the codes but also wrote a small note in the comments: "Root cause, copy-paste from CRM without code map. Suggest adding code map sheet." She kept the tone light and helpful. She believed that simple truth, said with care, could travel far. Mid-afternoon, Armin pulled the whole team into a quick stand-up around the big screen. "Listen," he said, tapping the red bars. "These late orders will be a problem if the auditors ask for proof of fixes. We need clean numbers by Friday. No surprises." He looked around the circle and then let his eyes rest on Myra. "And no experiments. Stick to the plan." Some people smirked. One man said under his breath, "Not low enough, as if she knows a plan." Another giggled and looked away when Myra turned her head. Myra felt a flush rise in her cheeks, but she breathed slowly. She did not throw back words. She had learned that dignity is a quiet wall, firm and soft at once. When the circle broke, Hina squeezed Myra's elbow for 1 second. That small human touch was worth more than a speech. The day moved on. Myra kept working through the data while also watching the small weather of the room. Who thanked others? Who took credit? Who stayed late to help without saying it loud? People showed themselves in tiny acts. She noticed Cameron return to his desk with 2 cups of tea and place one on a junior's table. She noticed a senior roll his chair away when a teammate asked for help, saying, "Later," and later never came. She noticed an email thread where someone had pasted one of her earlier notes as if they had written it, and then claimed the fix. She felt a small sting, but she let it pass. The point of the note was to help the work, not to sharpen a name. Near 5, the office lights changed from white to softer yellow, as if the building knew people were tired. Armin walked by with a visitor in a suit and said loudly, "We keep things sharp here. Fast turnarounds. No mistakes." The visitor nodded in a practiced way. Myra looked down at her screen and continued her small, clean fixes. She wrote a tiny script to catch the date swaps. It was not fancy. It was a simple check that asked, "Is the day greater than 12? Then the month must be here." It found 27 errors in one sheet. She marked them with a gentle color, wrote proposed fix, and attached a short guide with 3 steps. That was her style: short guides, small scripts, simple rules done always. As the office thinned, Hina packed her bag and asked if Myra needed help. Myra smiled and said she was fine. "Go home. You have a brother waiting." Hina grinned and left with a wave. A few minutes later, Cameron stopped by again. He looked less tired now. "Your note on the handoff," he said, "it's right. We lose track on Fridays and Saturdays." He paused, then added in a quiet voice, "Just be careful. Some people don't like new eyes." Myra nodded. "I understand," she said. "Thank you for telling me." After he left, she wrote another line in her notebook, "Friday-Saturday gap confirm with dispatch logs." At last, when the clock kissed 7, Myra closed her laptop. She stood, stretched her back, and looked once more at the big board. The red bars were a little shorter than in the morning. It was not only her doing. Many hands had pushed them down. It felt good to be part of a push that made things better. She picked up her bag and walked toward the lifts. The corridor was quiet now. The glass reflected her simple clothes and steady face. She saw calm eyes looking back at her. In the lobby, Fareed was still at his post. "Long first day," he said. "You survived." Myra laughed lightly. Yes. Thank you for the welcome. He nodded. People get busy and forget names. You didn't. That's rare. She thanked him again and stepped out into the cooler evening. On the sidewalk, the city noise had grown full and strong. Cars hummed, scooters weaved, food carts smoked, and the sky was a deep blue. Myra walked toward the bus stop even though a black car waited at the corner, the driver watching for her signal. She let the car wait. She liked to feel the day end with normal steps. Her phone buzzed. A short message appeared from a number saved without a name, board session confirmed. Closed door. Visitor badge will be ready tomorrow. She read it once, put the phone away, and kept walking, as if it were nothing more than a grocery list. A few steps later, she paused near the corner where two junior employees were talking fast. They did not notice her. One said, "Big change coming. New owner, they say." The other replied, "Whoever it is, I hope they care about people." Myra looked at the black car one more time, then at the bus stop, then back at the building's tall glass. She smiled to herself, small and private, and the evening swallowed the sound of it. Myra reached the office before most people. The lights were still waking up, one row at a time. She made tea from the small pantry and opened her notebook. On the first page, she drew a simple table with 3 columns: problem, root cause, small fix. Under it she wrote short lines from yesterday, day, month swap, empty reason field, handoff gap on weekends. She liked to start her day with clear eyes and clean paper. By 9, the floor was full. Chairs rolled, screens lit, voices rose. Armin walked in late but loud, holding a paper cup. He gave quick nods to the seniors and a brief glance to the juniors. When he reached Myra's desk, he pointed to a stack of folders. "These are printouts for the quarterly review," he said. "Please sort them by client name. Fast." His tone said the task was small. His eyes said the task was a test. Myra smiled. "I can do that," she said. She also asked, very softly, "Will you send me the invite to the 9:30 planning meeting? I want to listen and learn." Armin scratched his cheek and looked somewhere over her head. "The room is tight," he said. "We'll share notes later." He walked away. Hina arrived with a careful smile, saw the folders, and sighed without sound. "He gave you the sorting job," she whispered. "He gives that to anyone new, so they miss the meeting." Myra did not frown. She simply wrote in her notebook, "Meeting invite missing, observe who attends." Then she started sorting. As she worked, she noticed small things. Some client names had 2 spellings in different reports. Some pages showed numbers that did not match the shared sheet. She put sticky notes on those and kept the flow steady. The stack became neat rows, A to Z, ready for a table. When she carried them to Armin's desk, the planning meeting had already begun behind a glass wall. Through the glass, she could see slides, arrows, and the shape of stress. A senior analyst came by with quick steps and a quick smile. "You're the new trainee, right? Can you do a small polish on this dashboard?" "It's almost done," he said, almost as if it were a flavor. Myra opened the dashboard. It was not almost done. The numbers did not line up with the source, and the filter labels were mixed. She fixed the links, corrected the totals, and added a tiny footnote that explained how the filter worked. Then she sent it back. A few minutes later, she heard the senior analyst inside the glass room say, "I've cleaned up the dashboard, the trend is clear now." The room hummed with approval. No one looked outside. Hina touched Myra's arm. "I'm sorry," she said. "He does that." Myra gave a small smile. "It's all right. The work is clean now. That helps everyone." But after Hina left, Myra wrote another line, "Credit flows to loud voices track patterns, not people." She did not plan to make a list of wrongs. She planned to make a map of the culture, with routes to better ways. At 10, Cameron stopped by with his usual calm. "Morning," he said. "We're trying to explain late orders to finance. Your note about the Friday, Saturday gap makes sense. Can you help me pull a small sample to show the board later?" Myra nodded. They opened the logs together and chose the last 8 weekends. They marked how many orders changed after 6 in the evening, when sales left and dispatch was still packing. The picture was clear. "If we add a 10-minute sign-off call at 5:30, Myra said, we will catch most of this." Cameron nodded. "Simple and strong," he said. "Let me quote you." He smiled. "If I can get away with it?" Myra laughed lightly. "Quote the idea. That's enough." The planning meeting ended. People flowed out with the energy of a fast river. Armin came straight to Myra. "We have a client call at 11, he said. "It's delicate. Please do not join. I'll send you a recording later." His tone was smooth. His words were agate. Before Myra could answer, a different senior leaned over her desk and pointed at her screen. "Your notes, new trainee," he said, "they need to be in the team template. We don't do paper here." He tapped her notebook with 2 fingers, as if it were a toy. Hina's eyes went tight. Myra kept her voice even. "I'll copy the key points to the template," she said. "I use the notebook to think. It helps me see." The senior raised his eyebrows like he found that quaint. "Sure," he said. "Whatever keeps you busy." The 11 o'clock client call began in a small meeting room with a glass door. Myra sat at her desk and pulled up the shared calendar to check the call's agenda. There was no agenda. She opened the sheet with the client orders and highlighted the ones at risk. She wrote a short, simple note in the shared channel: "For the 11 o'clock call, 3 orders need address confirmation, suggest calling the end customers while we're on the line." No one replied. She watched the small green dots next to people's names. The dots moved, then went still. When the call ended, the team walked out in a cloud of sighs. "They want more discounts," someone said. "They always want more." Armin told a joke about clients that made some people laugh too loudly. Myra stayed quiet and waited for the room to settle. Then Cameron came to her desk and whispered, "Your note about calling end customers? We tried it, and it worked. 2 answers in 5 minutes. We saved a day." Myra nodded. "Good," she said. "Let's make it a standard line in a client call checklist." Cameron smiled. "You and your checklists," he said. "Maybe that is what we need." Just before lunch, a small incident showed the mood of the day. The printer jammed. Papers half fed themselves out in a bent smile. A senior snapped, "Who changed the settings?" A junior raised her hand and said, "I only printed a 2-page PDF." The senior turned to Myra. "You were sorting papers in the morning. Did you touch the printer?" The tone was light but sharp. Myra walked over, pressed cancel, opened the side panel, and pulled out a curled sheet. "It's fine now," she said. She did not say more. She did not say, "Printers jam, it's no one's fault." The junior thanked her softly. The senior shrugged and said, "Let's keep equipment tidy." Then he went back to his chair. At lunch, the canteen was louder than yesterday. News had gone around that an external audit team would walk the floor in a week. People formed tiny islands of talk. Some complained. Some joked. Some stayed quiet and ate fast. Myra and Hina sat together again. Hina talked about her brother's math test and the late rent and a neighbor who kept plants on the stairwell. The normal sound of her life warmed the space around them. As they ate, 2 colleagues took the table behind them and began to talk as if they owned the air. "Did you see the new trainee?" one said. "So plain. Feels like she came from a night class. The other replied, Armin keeps giving her simple tasks. Good. No time for experiments this week. The first snickered. She keeps saying thank you to the canteen staff. So sweet. Their words were not loud, but they knew how far sound can travel. Hina's hand tightened on her glass. Myra touched her elbow once and shook her head very slightly. She did not turn around. She ate her food. When she was done, she stood and carried their trays to the counter. Thank you, Sana, she said. The dal was perfect. Sana smiled in a way that made tiredness lift, just a little. In the lift back up, Hina finally let out her breath. I hate this, she said. People are not kind. Myra answered softly, some are kind. You are kind. Farid is kind. Cameron is fair. If we focus on them, the day feels different. Hina looked at her with surprised eyes. Does that really work? She asked. Myra nodded. It keeps the heart light. And a light heart can lift heavy things. The afternoon brought a different type of test. A joint review with sales, dispatch, and finance appeared on the calendar at 2. The invite list did not include Myra. She went anyway and took a chair along the wall, where visitors sat. No one stopped her. On the table, there were printouts, shiny pens, and a bowl of boiled sweets. Armin led. He opened with a slide about targets and a line about the energy of the team. Then he asked for updates. The sales lead spoke in quick bullets, the dispatch head in slow blocks, the finance rep in careful lines. When the talk reached handoffs, Armin clicked to a slide with 3 points. They were Myra's points, the same ones she had shown him in the morning. We will enforce a pre-handoff check, he said. We will require a reason field for changes. We will catch date swaps. People nodded. The room liked simple things when someone they trusted said them. Cameron caught Myra's eye across the table, a small look that said, I know. She gave a smaller look back, that said, it's fine. She was not here to fight for credit. She was here to make the work better. Still, she wrote a line in her notebook, good ideas need homes, make the home bigger than a name. During a break, the dispatch head, a woman named Rabia with sensible shoes, walked over to the wall seats. You're new, she said. You watch and you write. Good habit. Myra smiled. I'm Myra, she said. I like to see the full picture. Rabia nodded. Here's a picture for you. We always get blamed for last-minute changes. But most changes start before the boxes reach us. She pointed at the handoff in the flow. If you can help fix that, you'll save my team's backs. Myra answered, I'll try. Can we do a daily 10-minute call at 5:30 with one person from each team? Rabia thought for a second. If the call is short and useful, yes, she said. Long and vague, no. Myra laughed. Short and useful is my style. By 4, the review was over. People returned to their desks with a mix of hope and habit. Myra opened a new document and wrote a one-page plan, title, purpose, rhythm, roles, rules. Title, Daily 5:30 Quick Sync. Purpose, catch changes before they hurt the next team. Rhythm, 10 minutes, stand-up style. Roles, one person each from sales, dispatch, finance, customer care. Rules, start on time, end on time, speak in facts, leave with a tiny list. She sent it to Armin and CC'd the leads. No big words. No heavyweight. Just a clear path. 10 minutes later, Armin came to her desk. You sent this to the leads, he asked, the question soft, the edge not soft. Yes, Myra said. It is only one page. If it helps, we can try tomorrow. Armin smiled without warmth. We are not changing rhythms in audit week, he said. We will do what we always do and document it better. He tapped her desk twice and walked away. Hina watched him go and whispered, he hates anything that is not his idea. Myra answered, then we will make him feel safe. People adopt changes when they feel safe. She did not say more. She adjusted her plan. She renamed it Pilot Suggestion for next week. The last hour of the day moved like slow traffic. People were tired. Slides were not ready. Numbers needed one more pass. Myra took a small break and went to the lobby for water. Farid greeted her as if he had known her for years. You look like you solved 3 puzzles and found 2 more, he said. She laughed. That is exactly my day. He leaned in a little. A person came earlier to ask about boardroom security, he said. He used a guest list with a gold stripe. I only see those for very special meetings. Myra nodded once, neutral. Good to know, she said. Thank you for watching over us. Farid seemed pleased by the words over us, as if he were not only guarding doors but also people. Back upstairs, a small storm gathered. A key client had sent an email with the subject line urgent, wrong product code. The message went to many eyes at once. The product code had been wrong in the order from the start. No one had checked. The client wrote that they would reject the shipment if the code was not fixed by tomorrow. The room felt a little smaller. Voices turned sharp. Fingers pointed in the air, if not at faces. Armin called a quick huddle. We will fix the code and resend confirmations, he said. No mistakes. He looked at Myra. Can you help on the phones? His tone suggested this was a low task. Myra answered, yes. She opened the CRM, found the end customer numbers, and started calling with Cameron at her side. He spoke money. She spoke process. Together, they were calm. In 30 minutes, 2 confirmations were done and one needed a note from product. She sent the note, then wrote a short line for the team chat, fix list for the urgent order, code corrected, CRM updated, and customers informed. Next step, product note. The room eased by 1 degree. As the day neared its end, the CEO's assistant walked the floor with a crisp step. She stopped at each cluster and said, please join the town hall at 5:45. Short update. People made faces that meant, not more meetings. But they went. In the lounge area, the CEO stood on a small platform with a simple mic. He was not tall, but he had a voice that filled space without pushing. We have a surprise audit next week, he said. Not to catch people, but to catch problems. We will also have guests in the building this month. Be ready to show your best work, and your best behavior. He smiled. Kindness is not extra. It is part of our standard. A few people glanced at Myra and then looked away quickly, as if their eyes had brushed a mirror. After the town hall, Armin pulled the team into one last circle. We will set up a front desk for audit day, he said. One person will sit there to greet the auditors, print documents, and keep them away from our busy area. He turned his head slowly until his eyes found Myra. Myra will do it, he said. She is new and will not complicate things. The circle made a small sound that was not quite a laugh. Hina's jaw tightened. Cameron looked down. Myra's face did not change. I can sit at the front desk, she said. And I can also prepare a simple pack for the auditors, process map, last week's fixes, open issues, and who to ask. Armin waved a casual hand. Sure, sure. Keep it simple. He dismissed the circle with a clap. When people began to leave, Hina stayed back. I'm sorry, she said, eyes shining with worry. He put you on the front. It's like he wants to hide you. Myra put her notebook in her bag and answered gently, front desks are good places. You see who comes and who goes. You hear what matters. And you get to welcome people in a kind way. She smiled, a quiet smile that warmed Hina's fear. Also, a good pack will help everyone. If we show facts with calm, the day will go well. Hina nodded slowly, as if learning a new way to stand. The floor emptied. The boards dimmed. The city outside turned its lights into stars. Myra walked to the lift and pressed the button. As she waited, her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number: visitor badge with gold stripe will be ready tomorrow. Board session at noon. She read it, closed the screen, and slipped the phone back into her bag. The lift doors opened with a soft bell. She stepped in and saw herself in the mirror: simple clothes, steady eyes, a light heart carrying heavy plans. The doors closed, and the elevator began to fall, smooth and sure, toward a tomorrow that would test everyone. The next morning began with a small sound that meant trouble. It was the sharp ping of a group email with the word urgent in the subject line. People had not even finished their first tea. The message came from a key client and used careful words that still carried heat. The product code on a full shipment was wrong. The trucks were already on the way. If the code was not corrected and confirmed by the end of the day, the client would reject delivery and charge a heavy fee. The room changed shape. Some people sat up straight. Some looked down at their screens as if screens could hide them. Armin put his cup on the desk and said, "Okay, everyone, breathe. We'll handle this." His voice was calm, but his fingers tapped the table. Myra read the email twice, line by line. She opened the order in the system. She traced it back to the first entry. The wrong code was there from the start. It had traveled through every step without a check. That was the real problem. Not only the code, but the missing check. She drew a small map in her notebook: sales rightward arrow, code entry rightward arrow, review rightward arrow, dispatch. She circled review and wrote handoff beside it. Then she stood and walked to Armin's desk. "We need a small room," she said in a soft voice. "A whiteboard. 10 minutes to see the whole picture." Armin hesitated, then nodded. "Take the stand-up room," he said. "I'll send Cameron and someone from dispatch." In the stand-up room, the whiteboard was clean and the air was quiet. Myra wrote 3 lines at the top: what we know, what we don't know, and what we will do. Cameron entered with a folder and a face ready to work. Rabia from dispatch came in next, tying her hair into a simple knot as she walked. Myra pointed to the first line. "What we know, the code was wrong from the start. The trucks are moving. The client gave us the day to fix it." She pointed to the second line. "What we don't know, all orders with this code, the exact trucks carrying them, the end customers who will receive them." She pointed to the third line. "What we will do, a clean list in 30 minutes, calls in the next hour, corrected docs before noon, and a plan for repack if needed." Armin joined, breathing fast but speaking slow. "Fine," he said. "Let's get names and numbers. Then we talk." Myra nodded and assigned clear tasks. "Cameron, please pull the last 3 months of orders with this product code. Filter by today's truck routes. Rabia, please check with the warehouse for truck IDs and current locations. I'll prepare a script for client calls and a short note asking product for a confirmation letter on the corrected code." She wrote the tasks next to each name. No one argued. No one had time to argue. They moved. Cameron tapped fast, but not in a messy way. He knew where numbers lived. Rabia made a call to the warehouse and then another to a driver. Her voice was plain and steady. "Where are you now?" "Okay. When will you reach gate 3? "Good. Stay reachable." Myra opened a new document and wrote a simple call script in short lines: "Hello, this is from company. We found a code error. We are fixing it now. Your order will be correct and on time. We will confirm by time. Thank you for your patience. She knew that calm words keep doors open. Then she wrote an email to the product team. We need a short note confirming the correct product code and stating that quality is unchanged. One paragraph. Signed by product head. She sent it and added a reminder for herself. While she did this, she built a clean table: client name, order number, correct code, contact person, phone, status. She kept it simple. Most panic falls when the truth is laid out in neat rows. By 9:30, they had the list. 10 orders, 2 trucks, 1 route already near the city border. We need the code corrected on paper and in the system, Cameron said. We also need the client's trust. He looked at Myra. Will you join the client call? Armin's mouth opened to say no, then closed again when he saw the list on the board. It was hard to argue with order. Fine, he said. But keep it short. The call began at 10. The client side had 3 people, a project lead, a quality manager, and a calm voice who spoke rarely but decided things. Myra listened first. She always listened first. Then she spoke in even, simple lines. We reviewed the path of the error, she said. It started at entry. We have corrected the code in the system. We are sending a signed note from our product head to confirm quality. We will update delivery notes for today's trucks. We can do this in the next 48 hours with your permission to reprint and attach on site. She paused. We will send you a status sheet every 2 hours until this is closed. The client asked for proof. Cameron shared the sample. Rabia explained how a corrected note could be attached safely at the gate. The calm voice asked one question: how will you prevent this next time? Myra answered, by adding a required reason field for any change and a pre-handoff check between sales and dispatch at 5:30 daily. A 10-minute call. 1 page. We have the plan ready. There was a short silence, the useful kind. Then the calm voice said, you have 48 hours. Send the note in 30 minutes. Start the 2-hour updates today. The call ended without drama. The room felt bigger again. Armin let out a breath and slapped his palm lightly against the door frame. Good, he said. Back to work. Someone in the hall clapped once, quietly, as if the air had won a point. Myra did not celebrate. She looked at the clock and said, we have 25 minutes to get the product note out. She walked to the product area. The head of product, a woman with sharp glasses and careful words, met her halfway. We got your email, she said. Here's the note. Read it. The note was perfect, 1 paragraph, clear, signed. Thank you, Myra said. This saves hours. Next came the printing and the packing. The new delivery notes had to be printed, signed, and attached to the right boxes. The warehouse team offered a corner near the loading bay. It smelled of tape, cardboard, and diesel. Myra asked Hina to help set up a small station with files, clips, and a checklist taped to the table. The checklist had only 5 boxes: print, verify code, sign, attach, log. She spoke to the team in short lines. No rush. No gaps. Check each step. They nodded and began. During the midday heat, small problems tried to grow big wings. The printer ran out of toner. A driver reached the gate earlier than planned. A form lost a signature and had to be redone. Myra did not let the wings grow. She kept the tone low, the steps clear, the faces relaxed. We'll change the toner, she said. We'll hold the driver for 10 minutes with tea. She turned to Farid, who had come by to see if they needed anything. Can you help with the gate? He grinned. Gate is my stage, he said. I will stall with charm. He did. 2 o'clock brought a small win. The first truck left with the corrected notes attached and a photo sent to the client. Myra updated the status sheet and sent it with a calm sentence, Truck 7 corrected and cleared at 14:05. Cameron added, finance penalty risk for Truck 7 now 0. The spreadsheet felt like a tiny lamp on a long road. The client replied with one word, received. It was enough. Back upstairs, the main floor was half silent. People had switched to deep work. Armin stood by the big board, pointing at lines and giving orders. He worked best when the task was urgent and visible. Quiet process fixes did not excite him. Visible rescue did. Still, he came to the loading bay at 3 and said, good control. It was short praise, but it was praise. Hina smiled. Rabia nodded. Myra only said, thank you. We need the second signature now. The second truck reached the gate at 4. The sun had moved, and the light was softer. The team repeated the steps. Print. Verify. Sign. Attach. Log. The rhythm soothed nerves. A junior from dispatch, seeing the pattern, said, we should do this rhythm every day. Myra looked at her and said, yes. That is the plan. The junior smiled, proud to be part of an idea that worked. At 5:30, Myra stood in a small corner with her phone and started the first quick sync even without formal blessing. She kept it to 10 minutes. One person from sales, one from dispatch, one from finance, and Cameron. They spoke in facts. Any orders changing after 6? 2 address corrections. Any code issues? None new. Any delays? 1 truck behind by 30 minutes. They made a tiny list and left. It felt good, like a short stretch after a long sit. Evening rolled in with a thin wind through the loading bay door. Myra checked the sheet again. Every line moved from at risk to corrected. The client's calm voice sent a short message, continue. Status at 20:00. Myra prepared the 8 o'clock update with simple numbers and 2 small notes, process gap found at entry, checklist added. Pre-handoff call started today. She did not add her name. She did not need to. The work spoke. Armin gathered the team near 6:30 and gave a small speech about agility and team effort. He used the word we many times. People clapped. Hina's clap was soft but happy. Cameron's clap was steady and real. Rabia's clap was one loud sound and then a nod. After the clapping, the room thinned. Some went home to rest. Some stayed to finish slides. Myra stayed at the loading bay with Hina to clear the last few files. Her back ached, but her mind was light. Work that helps people feels like music in the bones. At 7:30, Farid came with 2 paper cups of chai. Canteen is closing, he said. But I told them you are doing the work of 5 people. Myra laughed. We are many hands, she said. Thank you for the tea. He lowered his voice a little. The receptionist asked me to find you, he said. She has an envelope for you. Myra looked at Hina. Finish this line, she said gently. I'll be right back. In the lobby, the lights were warm and people spoke in softer tones. The receptionist smiled when she saw Myra. She slid an envelope across the counter, white with a gold stripe at the top. For you, she said. For tomorrow at noon. Myra opened it. Inside was a visitor badge with the same gold stripe and a short note, board session. Closed door. Please arrive 5 minutes early. The words were simple and heavy at once. She looked up and thanked the receptionist. You're welcome, the woman said. Big day. Myra tucked the badge into her notebook. She walked back to the loading bay with steady steps. The team had finished the stack. Hina was washing her hands at a small sink, humming a tune under her breath. All done, Hina said. The last file is logged. Rabia checked the board and wrote a tick mark with a firm hand. Good day, she said. Hard, but good. Cameron joined them with the final numbers. Client penalty risk now near zero, he said. We will confirm tomorrow. They shared a short, quiet smile. It was not a party. It was better than a party. It was relief and respect. On her way out, Myra stood for a moment at the glass door and looked at the floor. She saw the tracks of wheels and shoes and work. She also saw something else in her mind, the outlines of a company that could be kinder and stronger at the same time. Not because of big speeches, but because of small habits done well. She thought of the quick sync, the checklist, the simple script for hard calls. She thought of Hina's careful hands, Cameron's calm numbers, Rabia's firm voice, Farid's watchful eyes. She felt a warm hope rise like tea steam. The night air outside was cool and good. The black car waited at the corner again, patient as always. Myra did not call it. She walked to the bus stop. She liked the way the city sounded at this hour, a little softer, a little kinder, as if the streets were breathing out. Her phone buzzed. A message from Cameron, great work today. Sleep well. She smiled and typed a small reply, great team. See you in the morning. When she reached home, she placed the gold-striped badge on her small desk and looked at it without fear. It was a simple object, but it pointed to a turning point. Tomorrow, at noon, the board would sit around a long table. People would speak in careful lines. Some stories would end. Some would begin. In her mind, she heard the calm voice from the client call asking, "How will you prevent this next time?" She answered it again in her head, with clear rules, kind habits, and fair credit. She closed her eyes for a moment and breathed. The day had been long. The work had been good. The test had shown people as they were. She put the badge back into the envelope and slid it into her bag. Then she turned out the light and let the room grow dark and quiet. Somewhere far away, a truck rolled toward a gate with correct papers and a driver who would go home on time. Somewhere inside the glass building, a checklist waited on a table, ready to become a daily habit. And somewhere near the center of the company, the shape of tomorrow changed by one small degree. In the morning, before anyone else, Myra would be there to set the next step. At noon, she would walk into the boardroom with steady feet and simple words. And the people who had laughed at her simple clothes would begin to see what simple really means. Myra arrived early again. The city was still soft. She took the lift up with the cleaning staff and the smell of lemon soap. At her desk, she opened the small pack she had prepared for next week's audit, a simple process map, a one-page note on recent fixes, a list of open issues with owners. She read it once more with calm eyes. Then she closed the folder and wrote 3 lines in her notebook, be clear. Be fair. Be kind. She circled the words and underlined fair. By 9, the floor came alive. Armin moved like a captain on a busy deck. He gave out tasks and small comments that looked like jokes but felt like tests. Myra, front desk plan for audit day, he said. Simple sheets. No experiments. She nodded. I've made a welcome note for the auditors, she said. It lists who to ask for each area. He waved a hand. Fine. Then he turned to the team and said, let's keep the energy up. No mistakes today. People murmured yes and returned to their screens. Hina came by with a worried face. You have your visitor badge, she whispered. Myra showed the envelope in her bag. Hina swallowed. Board session at noon. Do you feel okay? Myra smiled gently. I feel steady, she said. Thank you for asking. Hina's shoulders dropped a little. I'll be praying for a good day, she said. For all of us. Myra touched her arm once in thanks. Cameron stopped at her desk a little later. He had slept, and his eyes were less heavy. Client accepted last night's update, he said. Penalty risk now near zero. He lowered his voice. Whatever happens at noon, know that the work you pushed saved us. Facts speak. Myra nodded. Facts and people, she said. Both matter. The morning moved in small puzzles and tiny wins. A mistyped address. A lost form found. A junior learning to use the sheet the right way. Myra helped quietly, explained simply, and gave credit out loud. Hina solved the address, she told Armin. Please note it. Armin said, good, good, in a fast tone that sounded like a stamp. Rabia came up from dispatch and signed 2 lines on a handoff log. Your 10-minute call, she said, it made my evening shorter. Myra smiled. Short and useful, she said. Always. At 11:45, Myra put her pen down and closed her notebook. She took the envelope with the gold stripe and walked to the lift. The corridor felt longer than usual, but her step did not slow. In the lobby, Farid stood a little straighter when he saw the badge. His eyes shone with pride that did not belong to himself alone. Good luck, he said quietly. Not luck, she answered with a small smile. Work. He grinned. Work, then. Good work. She reached the floor with the boardroom. The carpet was thick. The air was cool. The receptionist here spoke softly and moved like a dancer. This way, ma'am, she said, guiding her to double doors of dark wood. Inside, a long table waited, bright with water glasses and neat notepads. The chair of the board stood when Myra entered. He was older, with kind lines at his eyes. The CEO sat to his right. The legal head, the audit lead, and 2 investors filled the other seats. There was one empty chair at the far end, and it faced the room. Miss Murab Khan, the chair said, smiling as he walked toward her. Welcome. The use of her full name, the tone of respect, and the way the CEO stood at once were all small signals that carried big meaning. The chair shook her hand and led her to the empty seat. We begin. They did. The chair spoke first. We are formally transferring majority ownership as discussed with the late Mr. Rahim's estate, he said, naming the mentor who had trusted Myra years ago. His wish was clear. He wanted the company to grow with steady hands and a clear heart. He looked at Myra with warmth. We welcome the new majority owner, Miss Murab Khan. Silence followed, not empty but full. The CEO nodded. We've worked with Myra as a consultant before, he said carefully, choosing words that did not reveal her first week in the office. Her eye for process and culture is practical and strong. The legal head confirmed the documents. The audit lead placed a slim file before Myra. She read the key page and signed with a calm hand. The pen felt heavy for a second and then normal again. Paper is paper. Responsibility lives in the person. The chair turned to her. Would you like to share your first view, he asked. Myra stood. She did not try to make a big speech. She kept her words simple, like clear water. Thank you for the trust, she said. I came these days to see the real daily life of the company. Not the tour. Not the slide deck. The true day. I found strong hands, tired faces, and some broken habits. I also found quiet kindness that deserves a bigger place. She opened the small folder she had brought. Our work has 3 parts, flow, fairness, and safety, she said. Flow, clean handoffs, clear checklists, better names for fields, less copying by hand. Fairness, credit given to the person who did the work, transparent invites, and simple rules that reduce showing off and increase real help. Safety, a place where juniors can speak, report issues, and be heard without fear. She paused. When these 3 are strong, numbers improve naturally. She gave examples, fast and clear. In 3 days, late order risk fell because of a 10-minute call at 5:30. We cut repeated errors with one tiny script to catch dates. We handled a code crisis with calm steps and 2-hour updates. None of this was magic. It was small, steady work, done together. She named people. Cameron kept finance steady and calm. Rabia protected the loading bay with strong rules. Hina did careful checks without asking for praise. Farid kept the gate safe and the people seen. The canteen staff lifted the day with kindness. She looked around the table. Kindness is not extra. It is a tool. Then she spoke, gently but clearly, about what had to change. We must fix a culture where loud voices take credit and quiet hands are ignored, she said. We must stop small mocking. It looks small, but it makes big damage. We must teach managers to coach, not scare. We must reward truth said with respect. We must make reporting safe. She looked at the audit lead. An ethics line with a trusted third party will help. No retaliation. Clear consequences. Clear protection. She put a single-page plan on the table and slid copies toward the board. 60-day plan, she said. Week 1, lock in the quick sync, required reason field for changes, and a simple handoff checklist. Week 2, manager coaching on feedback and credit. Not a long course. 2 hours. Role play. Practice fair talk. Week 3 to 4, launch the reporting channel and a short listening hour with me every Friday. Anyone can come. Week 5 to 6, recognize helpers publicly each week. Review roles with HR, move people who block others out of management roles until they learn a better way. Keep dignity. No public shaming. But be firm. The chair read as she spoke, lips moving in agreement. The CEO took notes and nodded at the parts he had already seen in her draft. The investors asked 2 careful questions: how will we measure this, and what is the risk? Myra answered with calm numbers. Late orders down by 30 to 50% in 60 days. Complaints down by 20%. On-time delivery up by 10%. Turnover of juniors lower by the next quarter. Risk is pushback from those who like the old ways. We lower that risk by making the new way easy, fair, and owned by more than one person. The chair closed his copy and looked at the CEO. I support this, he said. Do you? The CEO smiled. Yes, he said. It is simple and strong. The legal head added, we will update policy for the reporting line. The audit lead said, I can align next week's audit to test these flows. One more matter remained. The chair looked at Myra with a question in his eyes. She understood. There is also how we share this with the company, she said. I do not like drama. I like truth. We will tell them today. Not with fireworks. With a town hall and clear steps. The chair nodded. Agreed. They set the time for the town hall, 4 in the afternoon. The board signed what needed to be signed. The meeting closed. As they stood, the CEO spoke to Myra in a quiet voice meant for her alone. Are you sure you want to reveal the incognito part? He asked. Some may feel, she finished his thought softly. Some may feel tricked, she said. Yes. But trust grows in truth. I will carry that feeling with care. The CEO looked at her for a long second, then nodded. Okay, he said. I'm with you. Myra left the boardroom and walked back to the working floor. The air there felt warmer, fuller, more human. Hina was the first to see her. How did it go? She asked, whispering. We will have a town hall at 4, Myra said. Good news. Hard news. Clear news. Hina blinked. I'll be there, she said. Cameron caught Myra's eye from across the room and gave the smallest nod. Rabia checked her watch and said, I can send 2 people up at 4. The floor can spare them. Armin stood near the big board, checking slides for a weekly review. He did not look up at first. When he did, his eyes went to the envelope in Myra's hand, then to her face, then away. "How was your meeting?" he asked, light voice, tight jaw. "Useful," she said. "We will all hear the summary at 4. He shrugged. "As long as we meet targets," he said, tapping a number. It was a shield made of words. She did not try to take it away. People put down shields only when they feel safe. The hours between noon and 4 stretched like a long bridge. Work continued. Small things still needed doing. Myra helped a junior write a plan for a tricky client. She stood with Farid for 5 minutes and watched the entry, learning what he watched for. "Eyes tell stories," he said. "Shoes tell stories too." They both smiled. In the canteen, she thanked Sana for the fresh tea and asked about her mother's health. Sana brightened. "Better," she said. These tiny pieces were part of the company, as important as any chart. At 4, the lounge filled. People stood in clusters. The CEO walked to the small platform with the mic. He did not introduce a show. He set a tone. "We have an update on ownership and on how we work together," he said. "Please listen with full attention. Then we will ask for your help." He turned and looked at Myra. "Myra," he said simply. She stepped up. She did not hold the mic. She spoke in a voice that carried without force. "Good afternoon," she said. "Some of you know me as a trainee this week. Some of you thanked me. Some of you teased me. Some of you copied my notes. Some of you helped me. I saw all of it." A small ripple went through the room. She kept going. "I came to learn our true day. I learned enough." She told them the truth with care. "Today, the board completed a transfer," she said. "I am the new majority owner." A sharp silence fell, then a wave of whispers. Eyes widened. Mouths opened and then shut. The faces told many stories at once: shock, doubt, relief, worry, hope. She did not rush to fill the noise. She waited, calm, like a rock in water. When the sound eased, she spoke again. "I will not keep a list of wrongs," she said. "But I will keep a list of needs. We need clean handoffs. We need fair credit. We need safe talk. We need small habits done right every day. We need to treat the canteen team and the security team with the same respect as the people with corner seats." She set out the plan in the same simple words she had used in the boardroom. 10-minute quick sync stays, she said. Reason field for changes becomes required. Handoff checklist becomes standard. Manager coaching starts next week, short and practical. Reporting line opens in 2 weeks, with real protection. Weekly listening hours with me on Fridays. Anyone can come. She looked at faces, not at the clock. We will recognize helpers. We will fix roles that block good work. Some managers will move to individual roles until they learn a better way. No shaming. Clear feedback. Fair chances. Then she named names, not to shame, but to honor. "Hina," she said, "you lead the process map pilot with Rabia for 2 weeks." Hina's hand flew to her mouth. Her eyes filled, then steadied. "Cameron," Myra said, "you own the late order dashboard and make it simple enough for anyone to read in 1 minute." Cameron gave a short, proud nod. "Farid," she said, smiling toward the lobby, "you join the safety committee. Your eyes see what others miss." Farid stood at the door and straightened like a tree. "And to the canteen team," Myra added, looking at Sana, who had peeked in, "thank you for carrying our afternoons. We will formalize recognition and bonuses this quarter." Finally, she addressed what everyone felt. "Some of you teased me for simple clothes," she said, voice still calm. "Some kept me out of rooms. Some took words that were not theirs. I will not embarrass you by name. I will ask you to start again. Today. If you can do that, I am with you. If you will not, we will part ways with respect. The room held its breath. Armin took one step forward. The color had left his face and then returned. He began, then stopped, then began again. I made quick judgments, he said, not loud, not dramatic. I put you at the front desk to hide you. That was wrong. He looked at the floor and then up again. I can learn the better way. It was not a perfect apology. It was a start. Myra met his eyes. Thank you for saying that, she said. For now, you will move to an individual role. No team to manage. You will join the manager coaching and show you can give fair credit. We will review in 60 days. Armin nodded once, a small bow to the new rules. A soft sound rose, hands clapping, not wild, not forced, just steady. It spread across the room like warm light. People looked at one another with different eyes. Not all doubt was gone. Not all fear had melted. But something had shifted. The ground felt a little more level. The ceiling felt a little higher. After the town hall, people came in small lines to speak. A junior said, "Thank you for listening." A senior said, "I can help with manager coaching if you want examples." Rabia shook Myra's hand with a grip that meant I will hold my part. Cameron said only, "We start Friday," and Myra replied, "We start Friday." Hina stood last, eyes bright, voice steady. "I will not waste this chance," she said. Myra answered, "I know." The lounge emptied. The day's work still waited at desks. But the room felt lighter. Myra walked to the window and looked out at the city. The sky was a deep blue. Lights blinked on in slow lines. She thought of her mentor, Mr. Rahim, and the way he used to say, "Strong and kind." Both. Not one or the other. She whispered the words once and let them settle. On her way down, she stopped at the lobby. Farid stood at his post with a small smile that would last for hours. "So," he said, half question, half joy. "So," she answered, and they both laughed softly. She turned toward the canteen and waved at Sana, who waved back with a ladle in her hand. These were the edges of the company, and today, the edges had been pulled closer to the center. Back on the working floor, Myra wrote one more page in her notebook. She titled it "Tomorrow." The lines were short: send coaching invite. Publish quick sync rule. Announce reporting line date. Meet Hina and Rabia at 9. Desk walk at 11. First listening hour on Friday. Thank 3 people before lunch. She closed the book and felt the weight of it in her palm. It was not heavy. It was just right. As the evening came, the big board glowed with fewer red bars. People said good night with real warmth. The lift doors slid open and closed, carrying the day away in little boxes of light. Myra stood by the window for one last look. She saw her reflection, simple clothes, steady eyes, a face that belonged not to a secret guest, but to the person who would carry the place forward. She turned toward the door, picked up her bag, and walked with a quiet step that still managed to change the sound of the room. Before she left, she sent one short message to the whole company: "Tomorrow, we restart together. Bring your best work and your best behavior. We will make this a place where respect is normal and results follow." Then she put her phone away and stepped into the evening. The air was cool. The city hummed. Somewhere, a junior told her family a good thing had happened at work. Somewhere, a manager looked in a mirror and decided to try a better way. And somewhere, in the calm center of her chest, Myra felt both strong and kind at once. The next morning began quieter than most. People came in with new eyes. Some looked careful. Some looked hopeful. Some looked unsure, like they were learning to walk again on a floor that used to tilt. Myra greeted each person with the same calm tone. Good morning. She meant it. She wanted mornings to feel safe. She met Hina and Rabia at 9 in a small meeting room. The table had a stack of sticky notes, 2 pens, and a printed map of the order flow. For 2 weeks, Myra said, you will run the process map pilot. Keep it simple. Walk one real order from start to finish each day. Note every point where it slows. Then choose one small fix. Only one. Hina nodded, her face bright but focused. Rabia said, we'll keep the fixes small and steady. No big bangs. Myra smiled. Small and steady wins here. At 11, Myra did her first desk walk. She did not hold a clipboard. She did not point. She stood beside people and asked short questions. What slows you? What helps you? Who taught you something last week? She wrote down only the answers that came up more than once. Slow systems. Missing invites. Quiet fear. She thanked each person for telling the truth. People looked surprised at first and then relieved, like air had reached a closed room. Friday brought the first listening hour. She chose a corner of the lounge with soft chairs. No stage. No mic. A simple sign read, listening hour. Anyone can speak. The first 10 minutes were quiet. Then a junior cleared his throat and said, when we make a small mistake, we feel scared to tell. He looked at the floor. So we hide it until it becomes a big problem. Myra thanked him. We will change that, she said. We will praise quick flags. We will separate learning from punishment. Another person said, invites to meetings vanish. A third said, I want to grow, but I don't know the path. Myra wrote 3 lines in her notebook, praise flags, transparent invites, learning paths. She promised to act and she did. Manager coaching began the next week. It was short and practical. 2 hours. No long slides. People stood in pairs and practiced fair credit. One person told a small success story and learned to say every name who helped. Another learned to give clear feedback without sarcasm. There was laughter, but it was kind. Armin sat in the front row. He did not joke. He listened hard. When it was his turn, he said, last month I presented a dashboard someone else fixed. He did not say whose. He did not need to. I should have named them. Next time I will. The coach nodded. Say it now, she said gently. He spoke the name out loud. The room went still for a second, then warm. Saying the truth felt strange and good. The ethics line launched in week 3. The email went to everyone at once. A safe way to report, the subject said. The message was short, a phone number, a web link, and 3 promises: confidential handling, no retaliation, clear follow-up. We will publish monthly summaries, Myra told the team, so you can see we act. The first week brought a few small reports, a rude message from a manager, a missing invite, credit taken by mistake. Each was handled fast. The tone of the office changed by one small shade. People sat a little straighter. They spoke a little braver. The quick sync at 5:30 became a habit. It took only 10 minutes. One person from sales, one from dispatch, one from finance, one from customer care. Any changes? Any risks? Any help needed? They kept a tiny list and left. Late orders began to fall. The big board showed fewer red bars. Numbers followed behavior like a shadow follows light. In 2 weeks, rework steps dropped. In 3 weeks, on-time delivery rose. Cameron's new dashboard made the picture clear in one look. Green, yellow, red. Clean, honest, useful. Recognition changed too. Every Friday, at the end of the day, Myra sent a short note to the whole company with 5 names. Helpers of the week. Not big prizes. Just simple words that said, "We see you." A junior who stayed late to teach a new joiner. A canteen worker who adjusted meal times for the night shift. A driver who found a safer route in heavy rain. Hina's name appeared in week 2. Farid's name appeared in week 3. He tried to hide a smile and failed. Some days were still hard. Change made a few people angry. One senior rolled his eyes during coaching and said, "This is soft stuff." He spoke louder than most and liked being right. After 2 warnings for mockery and 1 for taking credit, HR met him with clear notes. "This is the standard," they said. "If you choose not to meet it, we will let you go with respect." He chose to leave. It was not a scene. It was a door quietly closing. The team did not collapse. It breathed. Armin worked alone now, as agreed. He did not manage a team. He handled a client project with a clear scope. At first, he moved like a person who had lost a piece of himself. Then he began to get good at the new way. He shared notes early. He credited others by name. He asked Rabia for advice on handoffs. He even asked Hina, and he listened to her answer. After 30 days, Myra met him for a review. They sat by a window with tea. "You kept your promise," she said. "You changed your habits." He looked out at the road and nodded. "I did wrong before," he said. "I am trying to do right now." He did not ask for his team back. He asked for a chance to mentor juniors on dashboards. "I can teach what I know," he said. Without the jokes. Myra agreed. "Teach 3 people," she said. "Let them present next month, and you stand behind them." The audit came and went. The team at the door wore neat badges and calm faces. They asked for proof, not stories. Thanks to the pack Myra had prepared, the proof was ready. Process map. Fixes. Open issues with owners. The auditors spoke to juniors, not only seniors. They ate in the canteen and watched how people treated the staff. They stood at the loading bay and asked drivers how the day goes. At the end, they gave a short summary. Strengths: simple controls that work, honest dashboards, and improving culture. Gaps: training for new leads, and better names for data fields. It was fair. It was good. Clients felt the change before they heard it. Orders arrived on time. Calls were calmer. 2 clients who had been slow to answer began to send new requests. One of them wrote, "We can feel the stability." Another asked if they could visit the floor to see the flow. Myra said yes. She liked when people saw the real day, not a tour. They walked through with Rabia, who spoke in plain words and showed small things that make big differences: labels, logs, and a 10-minute call that held the day together. Hina grew fast. She ran the process map pilot with care. She kept fixes small and sent a 1-paragraph note each day. After 2 weeks, she and Rabia presented 5 changes that saved hours: better field names, a forced reason for changes, a shared code map, a pre-pack check, and the quick sync locked at 5:30. Myra promoted her to process lead. The announcement was short and sweet. "Hina now leads cross-team flow," it said. People clapped with real joy. Hina called her mother from the stairwell and cried a little, then wiped her face and got back to work. Cameron moved into client success. He did not stop loving numbers. He made the dashboard so simple that anyone could read it in a minute. He added one small line above the chart: "If you have 5 minutes, talk to a client. Ask what felt easy this week." This line changed the tone of calls. People stopped hiding behind slides. They started asking normal questions that made clients smile. Farid joined the safety committee. He wore his badge the same way, but he walked with new purpose. He noticed small things others missed: a loose cable, a dark corner, a blind spot near the loading bay. He set up a 2-minute drill at the gate where anyone could learn how to guide visitors kindly and safely. He also fixed the habit of people ignoring names. He printed bigger name tags for the canteen team and asked everyone to say the name when they thanked them. Names are respect, he said. The habit spread. The canteen staff got recognition bonuses in the next payroll. Sana cried for joy in the kitchen and then cooked extra dal as if joy could be served on a tray. The night shift felt seen at last. A junior from the night team wrote a note on the wall board, "Thank you for moving our meal time by 20 minutes. It saved us from eating cold food." It was a small sentence. It warmed the whole floor. By day 45, numbers told a clear story. Late orders were down by almost half. Complaints fell. On-time delivery rose. Rework dropped. New hires stayed. The mood of the office shifted from tight to ready. There was more quiet laughter, less sharp noise. People still worked hard. They just did not waste energy on fear. On day 59, Myra held a short open book session. She showed the trends in simple charts. No mystery. She told the company what the board had told her. "We are on the right path," she said. "We still have work to do." She thanked people by name. She thanked groups. She thanked habits. "Thank you for the 10-minute call," she said. "Thank you for writing reasons in the field. Thank you for saying names in meetings. Thank you for being kind when no one is watching." Then she spoke about the next step. "We will keep the quick sync. We will keep the ethics line. We will keep the listening hour. We will add a teach back day once a month. Anyone can teach anything useful in 15 minutes. How to write a clear email. How to read a log. How to calm a tense call. We learn from each other." The last day of the 60-day plan came with light rain on the windows. The floor smelled like wet dust and tea. Myra arrived early, as always. She took the lift up with the cleaning staff and greeted them by name. She walked to her desk and opened her notebook to a fresh page. She wrote, "Day 60, and under it 3 lines, keep flow. Keep fairness. Keep safety." She closed the book and stood by the window for a moment. The city looked washed and hopeful. A small ceremony took place at noon. No stage. No speeches. Just a circle near the big board. People stood close, shoulder to shoulder. The CEO said a few words. "Thank you," he said. "Let's keep going." Myra spoke last. "We are not perfect," she said. "We will still make mistakes. But now we fix them faster and kinder. That is our strength." She looked around the circle and saw faces she knew well now. She felt something simple and true: this was her place, and she would care for it with both strength and kindness. As people returned to their desks, Armin walked up to Hina and said, "I learned a lot from your pilot. Thank you for teaching me." He said it in front of others, on purpose. Hina smiled and said, "Thank you for listening." Cameron handed a printout to a junior and said, "You present this at the client call. I'll back you." The junior's hands shook for 1 second and then steadied. Farid laughed at the gate with a visitor who had used the wrong elevator. Sana sent a tray of warm samosas to the loading bay. Rabia ticked a box on a log and nodded to herself, pleased. In the evening, when the floor was quiet and the lights turned soft, Myra took a slow walk from one end of the office to the other. She touched the back of a chair, the edge of a table, the cool glass of a window. She stopped by the big board and watched the lines for a long second. The red bars were there, but they were shorter. The green bars were taller. The picture was honest. It was enough. She rode the lift down and found Farid at his post. He saluted playfully. "Owner or not, you still say thank you like a trainee," he said. She laughed. "Owner or not, I am still a person who does not know everything," she replied. So I listen. He nodded, content. That, he said, is why this place feels different. Outside, the rain had slowed to a soft mist. The black car waited, but she waved it away and walked to the bus stop. She liked the feel of the ground under her feet, the sound of the city in her ears, the sight of normal people carrying normal lives with quiet courage. Her phone buzzed. A message from the calm client voice, "We notice the change. Thank you for making work easy." She smiled and typed back, "Thank you for trusting us." At home, she placed her notebook on the table and opened to the last page. She wrote one final line for the 60-day plan, "Make respect normal. Let results follow." She closed the book and turned off the light. The room went dark, but the feeling did not. It stayed, like a steady drum, a promise kept not by one grand act, but by many small, good steps done again tomorrow.